Hello, welcome to another episode of Life Bloom with John. If you're new here, welcome. Today, I want to take you on a journey. 8 rounds of IVF, 15 years of waiting, 2 beautiful daughters, countless tears, prayers, and moments where I almost gave up. When I think about my journey, I realized it was never just about having children. It was about the faith, resilience. It was about the strength that kept me believing even when every door seems closed. The weight of disappointment was too heavy to bear. I want you to know that you're not alone. This is not just for fertility journey. This is a story about faith. It's a story about grief. It's a story about loss, and ultimately a miracle. If you have ever felt like giving up, then I want you to take a seat because this is for you. I want to take you on a journey that I went on for almost 11 years. What am I even saying? More than 11 years. Like I said, I went on 8 rounds of IVF cycle. So I'm going to take you through every round step by step. Let's start with round 1. 4.5 years into our marriage, we consulted, we saw so many doctors and everything. Eventually, I faced an 11-hour surgery. Recovery was long and it was painful, but my hope remained. We began our first IVF cycle. Unsure, I was afraid, but I was full of trust in God that He will see me through. And then it happened, and I got a congratulations message. You're pregnant. And that was in 2011. I held my first daughter in my arms. This was the moment I thought our struggles with endometriosis, infertility was behind us. But little did I know that this was just the beginning. OMG. So after a couple of years having our daughter, we started the second cycle of IVF, and we had to stop in the middle of the cycle because my body wasn't responding to medication. They tried everything they could, increased the dosage, did all kind of tweaking of the medication. Nothing was working. My body wasn't responding. And then we took a break. And then we got on the 3rd round. We came back after maybe a couple of months and we started the 3rd round after taking a break. The cycle progressed and, we went far to the period that we transferred. Despite all the challenges during the transfer, the doctors was able to transfer 2 embryos per our request. That was what we wanted. We were like, okay, let's just transfer 2 and then we call it a day. Why not? Oh my God. But the cycle was not successful. At the end of the 2 weeks of waiting, we got a negative report. That was very disappointing. Heartbreaks layered upon heartbreaks, but we still pressed on. We took a break, another break, and then we went on to our 4th round of IVF. Another doctor, another hospital, just for a change and, just to get another opinion. Mind you, our doctor was very good. Our previous doctor was very good, but we just wanted a change, Again, when we changed, we started the cycle, my body wasn't responding. They kept increasing, tweaking the dosage, doing all kinds of manipulation with the medication, but my body wasn't responding. And so the doctor were already like, okay, we're not sure we're going to get anything at retrieval, but let's keep pushing. Eventually we went for the retrieval, and after I woke up, the doctor told me that we didn't get a single egg out of the retrieval. That was very disappointing, but we kept moved on to the 5th round, and by this time we were back with our original doctor at the original hospital. So we started another round, and the doctor kept reassuring us that we were okay. But lo and behold, in the middle of the cycle, I got a call from home that my dad had passed on. I tried to continue the treatment, tried to stay strong, but the doctor saw that my body wasn't taking it. Grief had overtaken my body. So she told me that we needed to stop the cycle. And when I returned, took a break to really grieve, and everything, prepare for burial. I went home, buried my father. And when I came back, another tragedy. I was trying to reach my doctor. She was nowhere to be found. Only for me to learn that she has also passed on. Loss upon loss. To cut the long story short, we started the 6th round. And because of the trauma from my dad's loss and my doctor, we decided that, we were just going to take a break before going on to the next round. So we did the next round, and I think that was the 6th round. And thank God that was positive. We became pregnant. But at 10 weeks, they couldn't hear the heartbeat of the baby. I had to go for labs, blood work, ultrasound, and everything. Eventually, they called me in the evening and said they wanted me to go to a closer location to go and double check. And by the time we got there in the morning, we discovered that I had miscarried. We were sad. We were disappointed. We were frustrated. We were angry. Emotions kept running all over me. But still, we didn't know anyone to run to. The only person that we knew that was there for us was God. And so we went back to God. We took our cares and burden, our fears and frustration back onto God. And that was how the 6th round ended. And then we took a break. After taking a break from the 6th round, we took a couple of years break. And then we started the 7th round. So this 7th round, we decided, let's try another doctor. At this point, my husband had already said, I'm okay with one child. I'm good with one child, but I wanted to have more children. I wanted my daughter to at least have one more sibling. So we tried another African doctor who was from the same place I am from, Nigeria. And, I was very happy, I was like, okay, maybe this person can relate with me, relate with my gene, my body composition and everything. But she was rude. She was disrespectful to us. Right from our very first consultation, she just spoke to us as if she was actually the God in charge of making babies. But we chose to ignore and not to be distracted by our attitudes. But when we were about to start, there was a point that I had to go in for the final checkup before we started. And she did something that was very, very insulting and disrespectful to me. I was already undressed because they had me to undress. And so, she stood at the door was open, and she left the door open while people were going back and forth. But still, I chose to ignore all that. What broke the camel's back was that she prescribed a wrong medication. And this is why I encourage a lot of us to pay attention. Doctors are humans like us. So I want to encourage us to really, really, really pay attention. She gave us the wrong medication. And so when my husband picked up the medication, the Holy Spirit just prompted me to look at the name of the medication, which I did. So I looked at it and I was like, this is a wrong medication. Why do I have this medication? I went to meet my husband. What is this? Is this a generic or a brand medication? And lo and behold, when my husband saw it, my husband said, this is the wrong medication. So we had to call and cancel it. Bear in mind, we already ordered all the other medications that I was going to use for that cycle. And if you know anything about IVF, you can't transfer it. You can't transfer it to anyone. So that was the waste of time, a waste of money, a waste of resources. But we're grateful because we caught it. What about if we've started the cycle and she started prescribing wrong dosage? And that would lead to another complication. I was already dealing with a lot of stuff. So we had to cut it off. And that was the 7th cycle. The 8th cycle, so we took another break. And like I said, already my husband was already saying, you know what? I am so done. I am done. I am okay with one child. I kept pushing and saying, let's just try one more. Let's just try one more. So I told him after the experience with that doctor, I said, you know what? I'm just going to try one more, because at this point I was already drained. I don't even know how I didn't get into depression. It was just by His grace. I was already drained. My body was already tired. Emotionally, I was already tired. Mentally, I was exhausted. So I told my husband, I said, let's just give it a try. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, then so be it. We were already considering adoption. Adoption was already in the plan for us. We were already talking to our daughter about adoption, prepping her. just in case if we have to go that route. And so we went for the 8th and the final round. And like I said, at this point, we were already considering adoption. And we were just open to whatever will be. And along all this journey, we were praying, we were seeking counsel, and we were just trusting God for the best. So we went the 8th round. And of course, we had already made up our mind that was going to be the last round. And lo and behold, God came through for us. God came through for us and we got pregnant. We got pregnant and we had our second daughter in July 2023. Of course, this is a journey of 15 years plus that I summarized in a video of 20 to 30 minutes. But in it all, God was faithful. That I did not fall into depression with all the crazy emotion I went through. I just thank God that I'm still surviving in my right frame of mind. It was stressful. 8 rounds of IVF, 15 years of trusting God, so much of heartbreaks. But God was faithful. I never felt into depression, and that was only by His grace. If you're going through pain, whether endometriosis, PCOS, fibroid, whatever kind of pain, or you're going through infertility, you're going through any loss or setback, I want to encourage you, don't give up. Please know that you're not alone. Your journey is yours, and your story is still being written. There will be losses in the journey of life. There will be pain. There will be disappointment. But also in that same journey, there will be hope, there will be strength, and there will be miracle. So I want you to hold on. Don't be disappointed. Don't throw in the towel. Don't give up. As you have heard in my story, you can imagine if I had given up, we wouldn't be here today celebrating the birth of our second baby. She has brought us so much joy, so much so that sometimes we couldn't believe that we went through all those struggles. And you know what the Bible says is Isaiah 61. It says it gives us beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. So I really want you to encourage someone out there. You're listening to my story today. Yes, I went through 8 rounds of IVF. Was it easy? No, it wasn't easy. Was it painful? Yes, it was. It did cost a whole lot of money. Was it frustrating? Yes, it was frustrating. It was disappointing. But we're here today looking back and giving thanks. Looking back and we're grateful. We're overwhelmed with gratitude. So I want to encourage you. I had to go on this journey of infertility and IVF and everything because of endometriosis. That was what endometriosis cost for me. And this is why we're encouraging everyone to help us share, to create this awareness about endometriosis, because we want people to know that early detection of endometriosis is the key. Thank you so much. And I pray that as you hear this, this story that I'm sharing, it will bless you. Thank you so much. For all our viewers, all our followers on different platforms, thank you for engaging in the comment section. I see your comment. Thank you so much. And if you have any question, please drop it. Drop it in the comment section. If you have anything that you want us to talk about endometriosis, about infertility, about this IVF journey, please drop it in the comment section and we will respond to your questions. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next episode.